You are now listening to the Q&E Podcast.
Is this what you want? Huh? Is this what you want? Well, come and get it, goddammit!
What's up, everybody? You're listening to the Q&E Podcast. You're here with your boy Q Hicks right now. I got Edgar on the other line. Edgar, tell the people what's good.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of the Q&E Podcast. Today, we are going over episode 7 of Lovecraft Country. The title was I Am. Can't wait to get into this. This is my favorite episode so far for the series, so I can't wait to dive into this. Quincy,
so you love it. So you love it then?
Yeah, I loved it. Let's just get it out of the way. I love, or hate it. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I
loved it too. But this is the thing. I was talking to Edgar about. I was like, I don't know if I loved it because of the episode. The episode was great, but I feel like I loved it a little bit extra because of the last episode disappointed me so much, bro. I expected so much more, but we got back to the regularly scheduled programming with this episode. We got the multiple perspectives. We had Montrose with his situation. We had Tick, had Letty. So everybody was back in the fold, and that's how I like it, bro. When it was just stuck to like 2 or 3 people, it wasn't enough for me.
I told you last episode 6, it was a filler, but it was really a stepping stone into the second half of this season. That's really all that was. So as bland as it was, as dry as it was, as hard to keep up as it was with the subtitles, I still feel it's going to be very necessary moving forward.
Because I was going to ask you that. I was like, I don't know how that's going to play moving forward. Like the direction we're moving, I don't understand her impact anymore. Do you?
I feel like she'll probably come either in episode 9 or in the season finale, episode 10. I feel like that's how episode 6 is going to transition back into what's going on.
I know
the way episode 8 looks, it don't look like she's going to be anywhere in episode 8. So,
and that's why I was asking, like, what was her purpose now? It's like he moved on to Letty. It's like, okay, you gave him like a foreshadowing that he was going to die. But other than that, like, are you really needed in the show? Like, I don't really see your purpose in the show anymore. I truly don't. Like, you just somebody like, yeah, you cool from a distance, but I don't know if I really want you as like a character that's really up in the show for real. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't want you messing up like the black sequence that we got going on.
They'll integrate her some kind of way. They'll integrate her into it.
Will. I'll be interested to see how they do that. But what was your predictions or your expectations coming into this episode, though?
I think I predicted her to show face in this episode, if I'm not mistaken. Did I say that? Yeah, I said that last time. Because I knew we were going to get a lot of Hippolyta, but I thought it was going to be majority Hippolyta, but a little bit of everybody else. And I thought they were going to throw her into it and like have her meet up with Tick in some kind of way. But no, I was wrong with that prediction. This was all Hippolyta all the way.
Yeah. And I rock with it because I was somebody on like Hippolyta was somebody like she was cool. Like, she was in that Ruby field. Like, Ruby cool, but I don't know if I really would say I would like her. But yeah, obviously, with this episode, I would say I like her now. I like her now. More than I did, most definitely. But let's dive into the opening scene, bro. So, Hippolyta is messing with the Ori. It looks like she was real smart. She had the equations all laid out on the floor. She trying to get the tilt right with the Ori and everything. And they showed us a flashback of the ruins of the Artem house. So D and Hippolyta ended up going back there, seeing the ruins, and she ended up finding D's comet. So that's why she was feeling this type of way about Tick and Lady them like this whole entire episode. She was like, I know y'all lying, and you can see it. You can see it when they had asked her for the card. It was like, y'all been lying to me. Like, I don't even want to give y'all my card no more. It's like you really felt the animosity toward them, bro. And yes, and the Ori ended up opening up with the keys and the coordinates. She ended up figuring out how to open it. So how did you feel about that opening scene, bro?
The only thing that confused me about the opening scene was the quote that was inside the Ori with the key.
Oh, that's the one that was like, the beginning is in space or something like that.
Yeah, did you write it down? I forgot to write the quote down.
I didn't write it down.
Like, I don't know why, but in the episode, they made sure to only show the quote for like half a second. And then, like, just go on from it. It's like, it wasn't one of those situations where they stayed on the quote for a long time for the audience to grasp. It was like, hurry up and read it. Okay, and on to the next thing. So I just never did write it down. But I think it says something like, every beginning is in space. And The second half. I can't get the second half of
And it has something to do with the episode. And they usually have like a tale at the beginning of every episode of like an outline moving forward. And this was the episode, or this was like the tale of something moving forward. Because obviously we were messing with space, and she had to begin again in a lot of the scenarios, like in the future parts of the episode. So yeah, I rock with how they did that.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised though that she was doing all the equations and everything like that.
But did you know she was that smart though? I
had a feeling she was that smart because how deep they were, her and Uncle George and Dee to a certain extent, how deep they were into astronomy and into physics and all that type of stuff. I felt like she knew what she was doing. It wasn't like her first time trying to learn that stuff. It was like, okay, you've been doing this for some years now. Because you can't be into astronomy or physics and not know any type of math. You have to be a mathematician to a certain extent.
Yeah, and you remember earlier, a few episodes ago, she had said that she had named a star or something like that, named a comet. So obviously she was like into astrology before, so it made sense. But another thing I wanted to pick up about that first episode, you remember she picked up like a piece of wood from the ruins, and it had like the symbol, like the Artem symbol or something like that, and she seen that same symbol on the orrery, meaning that orrery belonged to the Break Whites and something like that. So she knew it was something. She didn't know what it was, but
yeah, she didn't know the context of it, but she knew this matches up with what I seen when I was there.
So. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And something else I was picking up on, you remember like telescopes were always around their house, and we had mentioned the telescope in episode 4, and in the observatory it was a telescope too. So I'm like, damn, like that started to piece together like the astrology point to me. But I feel like it's another underlying point to that I'm not really understanding. Why do we keep seeing all these telescopes? Is it just astrology, or do you think it could be something more?
Well, I feel like it's just the point of magic and the point of what was I going to say? It's like the point of magic and the point of space playing a part hand in hand with each other, because I feel like magic is way beyond the concept of Earth and space to a certain extent. So that, along with the fact that the family of Dee, Hippolyta, and George, along with their astronomy admiration, I feel like that just goes hand in hand with each other. Yeah. So if it's something more than that, I'm not sure at the moment, but I think it's just they're showing how that both plays a hand with each other.
Yeah. And this was something I had a question about that first scene too, because I don't know if she's seen the body or not. I keep getting confused on if she actually seen Uncle George's body. Because you remember when Uncle George died, that next episode, Tick was like, you seen the gunshot, you seen that he got shot or something like that. But the way she keeps going to the house, she keeps trying to investigate it, it makes me feel like she didn't see the body. So are you picking up on that at all? Do you think, and we didn't see a body at the funeral as well.
You think she did see it or didn't?
But I'm just going off what Tick said. Tick said, you seen the body, you seen the gunshot wound or something like that, he had said in like episode 3 when he had died. Yeah. But I'm still getting the sense like she didn't see the body with all of these questions and all of this investigating that she's doing with it.
Well, I feel like she had all the questions because she just feel like, I know what y'all showed me and I know what y'all telling me, but it just still doesn't add up. I feel like that's why she still has questions, because it's like, just because y'all showing me his body and telling me this happened, it just sounds like, I don't know. It just sounds like y'all had this story like rehearsed in y'all head already. Like it don't sound like it genuinely happened, because y'all concern level isn't raised to where mine is raised right now. Y'all don't seem as upset as I am, like, or none of that. So I feel like that's why she felt they were lying in the first place, because it's like I know y'all would be angry as hell if the story that y'all telling me actually happened. Yeah. And the fact that y'all just trying to move on from it, I feel like that's why Hippolyta was like, yeah, I don't care what y'all showed me. I don't care what y'all telling me. I want to know what actually happened.
That's true. That's true. So let's move on to the next scene, which was Christina. She was talking to Ruby, and she was finding out more about the potion. She was finding out that William was actually dead. Dale was actually dead. And Christina was basically like telling her the truth about everything that was going on in the last episode. And we found out that William and Christina were not brothers. And that shocked me, because I really thought they were brothers, but they ended up lovers, bro.
I had to rewind that part. I was like, hold on. Because me and Caleb, we was like, that's her lover? I was like, whoa, I did not know that. I thought they was brother and sister the whole time.
Me too.
I really thought they was brother and sister.
And that's what blew me, bro. When I found out, I was like, damn, like That kind of tripped me out, bro. But Christina had ended up seeking out to William because her father wouldn't teach her magic. So she like, I need a teacher that's actually in the order of the Ancient Dawn. So she sought out William, and William ended up teaching her. They ended up catching feelings. I don't know if they had a real relationship, like sexual relationship, but they definitely had like a teacher-student relationship. Yeah, they had a bond. And Ruby just really felt like she was used throughout this whole situation. And I keep telling you, Christina is the bad guy, even though you don't feel. Do you still feel the way you feel?
She's not a 100. You keep trying to go with the fact that she's a 100%.
No, she is. She keeps giving you the signs.
She's not a 100% villain, bro. She's not. She's like 50% on the antagonist scale. Like,
that's called manipulation.
No, she is using her. I'm not gonna lie and say she's not using her. She's using Ruby to a certain extent because she's trying to get what she wants. But I don't feel like you would allow the people you're using to understand the truth of everything you're doing if you're just simply using them. If you're simply using them to get what you want, you're not going to undoubtedly just let them know your entire purpose and let them understand their purpose and what they're doing.
But you got to remember what Ruby said. Ruby was like, I'm going to leave if you don't tell me the truth. So she had to lead her on. You had to keep her going so she can stick around. If you didn't tell her the truth, she was out the door. She was going to bounce. So that's why I'm like, she keeps manipulating you. She's not a villain to that extent where she's going to like outright do some cold-blooded shit, but she's manipulating every piece that she goes. She's manipulating Tick, and she's definitely manipulating Ruby right now, deeply. Even though Ruby wants to get strung along, she's manipulating her.
I don't know, man. I can't see Christina as a 100% villain. I feel like by the end of the season, she's going to still be alive. I'm going to predict that. Christina will still be alive by the end of this season. Oh, yeah. And
if she's not in season 2, I'm highly upset.
Yeah, I would be too. I feel like she's going to be alive and it's going to grow. All of this is going to grow into something way bigger than her. That she won't even be close to the main villain of the story anymore. That's my prediction going into it. That's my prediction.
So you saying she's not going to be the villain next season? She's not going to be the main one next season. It's going to grow bigger than her. I can see that.
This whole story is going to grow so much bigger than her to where they won't even really look at her as a villain anymore next season. She won't be an ally, but she definitely won't be somebody that they have to steer away from, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Because somebody I keep thinking is going to be a way bigger villain than we're giving him credit for is the cop, Captain Lancaster or whatever. He keeps getting like overshadowed by Christina, but I feel like we should be looking at him way more, bro. We should be looking at him
because he's the one that's trying to like be the rightful owner of the lodge and all of that. So I do agree. They're kind of underplaying his character at the moment, but giving him key parts in certain episodes.
Yep. So moving forward, we get the Letty scene. Letty has a dream about Hannah, who was Tick's ancestor, and Tick had the same dream about her. She was running out of the burning building. And Tick started to burn, and Letty had the same exact dream, but in her dream, she was pregnant. And can I get my flowers, please?
I'm about to say, we got that right. I agree with you when you said that. Letty was pregnant, yep.
Letty was, bro. And it was so funny because I remember you had said something about the shot in a couple of seasons or a couple of episodes ago. You said it was like a shot of her stomach, and you was like, oh, they trying to shadow.
When Letty, I think Letty had the bat. And when it was after Tick beat Montrose ass, and then he was down in the basement, and Letty went down there with the bat, and it almost looked like Tick was gonna hit Letty, but he looked at her, and the way the camera panned down to her stomach, I was like, no, don't tell me he's not gonna hit her because she's pregnant. At first, I was like, he's not gonna hit Letty just because it's Letty, but I was like, are they trying to imply that she's pregnant by the way they show her stomach?
So when you said that, that's when it definitely confirmed it for me, bro. It really confirmed it for me. So when I seen her pregnant in this episode, I was like, yeah, I already knew what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. But she was burning while pregnant. But why do you think Tick and Letty were having the same dream?
I'm glad you asked this because I said this as soon as me and my friends we was watching. I had them pause it. I was like, the reason why Letty is having this dream is because, first off, that confirms that she's pregnant. Mm-hmm. So it's not Letty having the dream. It's the baby inside of her having the dream, and she's able to see it because she is the vessel of the child at the moment. Good point. The only reason why I knew that was the reason was because in Twilight Breaking Dawn part 1 or part 2. I can't remember which. It was part 1. And Twilight Breaking Dawn part 1. That's what happened with
old girl baby. What's her name?
Rose something. I can't.
I forgot her name.
But I can't remember
Bella.
Well, yeah, I know Bella, but I'm trying to think of her daughter's name.
Okay.
I can't think of it at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But when she was in her stomach, the power that she had was she could like read people's memories and like know their dreams and stuff. So I was like, that's some Twilight shit. Like I knew that from Twilight. I was like, it's not her dreaming, it's the baby inside of her dreaming, and she could see the dreams. So it's Tic's DNA basically inside of her, which will play a bigger part later in the show.
That's definitely correct. You're on the money with that one. So good point, bro. Good point. Letty and Tink think his mom's side of the family could have the Book of Names because they had the dream. They ended up discussing it, and they basically put the two things together.
But their dreams were different though, because in Tic's dream, she didn't have a book.
She had the book. She
said she didn't have a book. She had the book.
She had the book.
Whoa, why Tic said that then?
In all of the dream, she had a book. She was running out with the book. That's the most important thing. She had the book. But she was like,
Tic must not have remembered that then, because he was like, "What book?" He was like, "She ain't had no book in my dream. What book you talking about?"
He probably didn't remember the book, but she had it. She had a book in his dream though. She definitely had the book in his dream. But he was like, she said something to me, but I couldn't hear it. And then what's her name? Letty was like, nah, she didn't say nothing to me. That was the part that caught me. But yeah, she definitely had the book in both dreams though. Okay, but they ended up planning it out, and they wanted to talk to Montrose to get more information on his mom's side of the family, so they can find out if the Book of Names basically stayed in their family, because they know Hannah did have the book running out of the burning building. So they wanted to get more information on that. Now
not only will it be like missing pages, but it'll on the spells, but it'll be instructions on how to do the spells if they do find the book based on the allegations of the dreams.
Yep, good point. And then now we get to Sammy and Montrose, bro. And this was real interesting to me. It's funny because somebody had retweeted it before I even watched the episode. I felt spoiled before I even watched the episode. But they were talking about like shrinking in relationships. And we're going to talk about it later with George and Hippolyta. But in this relationship as well with Sammy and Montrose, Sammy, who is the bar owner, who is messing with Montrose in that gay relationship, we're going to see some shrinking in this relationship as well, too. So they found out by Tic. Tic ended up finding them out because I think Sammy ended up staying at his house or something like that.
But one thing I wanted to point out was Montrose really has a relationship problem with everybody damn near, because it's not just Tic. Like when he woke up and walked in the kitchen, Sammy was cooking breakfast. He was trying to say, "Hey, I had a great night last night."
But he was cool with it at first. He was cool with it.
Yeah, he was cool with it, but he was still kind of judgy. He was like, "Are you doing this because you really like doing this for me, or are you doing this just because this your first time staying over here and you just trying to make a good impression?" So I was like, okay, that mean they relationship still ain't solid like that, even though they had that great night last night. And Sammy was like, I'm doing it because I really want to. I went to the store, got groceries and everything. All you got in here is whiskey. So I really wanted to do this for you. And they sat down to eat, and Montrose is like, this is bacon. You know, I don't eat pork. He basically being nitpicky and not being grateful for the breakfast at all. You know, I don't eat bacon or any type of pork. You know, I don't like my grits runny. You know, I like them firm, this, that, and the third. The coffee got too much sugar. I'm like, damn, bro. Like, just say thank you for the tip at least.
But the most important part of that scene was when Sammy had said he had seen his neighbor at the bus stop. Mm-hmm. And Montrose was like, whoa, like, I didn't want you to be seen coming into my apartment. But she was like, I seen him at the bus stop. It ain't no problem. And that's when, like, his whole mood had changed. And this is when I bring up the point of shrinking, because obviously Sammy is pretty open with it being a drag queen. He's pretty open with being gay, but Montrose still wants to be closeted. So that's why you see Sammy keep shrinking. Like, he wants to be out there in the open, but he can't because the person he's with doesn't want to be open. So now he has to shrink. Right. Now he's shrinking him even more because he want to be nitpicky. And now he's making him feel like shit because he didn't want Tic to know about his relationship. So it's like you see Sammy shrinking as well throughout that whole scene.
And before he walked out the door, he was like, you're not going to keep playing this emotional roller coaster game with me. Like, I'm just going to go. Like, you're not going to keep doing this to me because I want us to be proud of who we are.
Exactly.
And, like, be able to go outside together and everything be okay. And Montrose like, nah, Right now. It's the 50s, my guy. It's the 50s.
Yeah, and that's the biggest part of it, bro. He would still be judged harshly, bro, because they was beating niggas' ass for being gay back then.
Yeah, I was like, I low key, I understand.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely, yeah, for sure.
And then the funniest part of the episode happened. Go into it. That transition is into the funniest part of the episode.
Yeah, that transition into Tick and Letty ended up walking up the stairs and sees Montrose trying to console Sammy, and Tick was utterly confused. He knew what was going on, but he really didn't know what to do.
He had no proof. He had no proof. He was like, all I'm going off of is what everybody telling me. I ain't gonna believe it till I see it. And my dog finally saw it.
Bruh. So how did you feel about that scene, bro? Obviously, he was a mess.
I knew he was gonna say this. I was like, they gonna let Tick say faggot. I already know they gonna. I was like, they gonna let Tick say faggot. So Sammy walked by. He was like, "Excuse me, I'm just gonna go." And then as soon as Sammy left, Tick looking at Montrose like, "So it's true.
You a faggot.
You are a faggot." I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he did it for real."
Hey, Montrose snapped. Montrose took off the shirt. I thought they was gonna fight again.
I was gonna be like, "Okay." Montrose said, "Yeah, you beat my ass last time, but I'm ready this time, boy."
Nah, Tick still would have beat that nigga ass.
Still would have got that. You still gonna respect me? I'm your father at the end of the day. You ain't gonna call me out my name. Like none of that. That disrespect ain't gonna happen. Like, yeah, your mama knew what was going on, but I'm your father at the end of the day. You ain't gonna disrespect me and call me out my name. So I was like, damn, like, yeah, because back then, nowadays you can't say faggot. You'll probably get fired from your job. You'll get fired from your job just for anything that's non-gay at this point. But back then you can say faggot and get away with it. Nowadays you can't say that. You can't say anything near that.
Yeah, bro. But that part about his mom was probably, we already talked about it before, how George could possibly be his dad. So I was surprised he didn't bring up that question. He obviously doesn't know. Tick doesn't know that George possibly could be his father, but it's running through the viewer's mind like, when is he going to find out? Because I'm feeling like it's becoming more and more true that George is your actual father, bro. And I want to know when that's going to come out, when that secret's going to come out, and who's going to tell him. Like, is it going to? Because George is dead, so George can't tell him. So is Montrose going to tell him? I don't know.
I mean, back then, I don't know if they were getting like actual DNA tests to figure out who the father was. I feel like back then you just had to go off of the strength of who you remember having sex with. So I think the fact that they're trying to play on the possibility that George could be his father. I don't think it's concrete proof that George could be his father. That's why Montrose probably hasn't said anything, because in his head, he's like, I low-key still could be your father. I'm gay, but I was with your mom for a decent amount of time. So, and we were having sex. So it's like, shit, like I could still be your daddy, but there is a strong possibility Uncle George could be your daddy too. But it's the 1950s. Well, they had Tick before the 50s even. So it wasn't no DNA test. You just went off of who you thought the daddy was.
Yeah. The funniest part to me, bro, I thought Tick was finna hit that Cuba Gooding when he found out the information. I thought he was gonna be punching the air and shit when he went outside. But he was really cool for the information, bro. That's a shock, bro. When you actually get it confirmed that your pops is gay, like, bro, I would have been more shook than Tick was, honestly, bro. I would have been shook.
And if they did have DNA tests back then, I'm pretty sure they wasn't that accurate. They couldn't have been. They couldn't have been that accurate.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. But Letty ended up still talking to Montrose after that whole situation and finding out that Hannah had a cousin that stayed in St. Louis, so that's where they could possibly find the book. And Tick ends up going to St. Louis.
They were the only two survivors of the Tulsa riots too. So I was like, damn, like that's really sad. Like only two people that out of all the people you possibly knew in Tulsa, only two people survived. That's crazy. That's so crazy
as fuck.
And I want to point out this part about parenting between Montrose and Tick, because Tick was really upset. I want everybody to know this. Tick honestly was not upset that his daddy was gay. Tick was upset because his whole life his daddy beat his ass so he wouldn't be soft or looked at as like sissy or whatever and nothing like that. And Tick took it as, well, my daddy loved me and he just don't want me to be soft, blah, blah, blah. So that's why he always beat my ass. That toxic father-son relationship hurt him more than learning out that his daddy was gay. I feel like that's really what hurt Tick, because he was like, this man been whooping my ass my whole life, so I won't be soft. Whole time he gay, like he got a whole gay lover. So I feel like that's what really made Tick upset, and that's what made him cry and everything. Cause I'm like, ain't no man really finna cry just cause they daddy gay, even if you mad. But he was crying
It's
off
a
the
crushing blow, most definitely.
It's crushing, but I wouldn't cry. I'd be mad as hell, but I wouldn't cry. But Tick was crying because it's like, nah, it's deeper than just him being gay. It's like, you beat me to not be exactly what you are.
Oh. See, I was thinking he was whooping him because it was some type of kink that he wanted. Like, he was getting off to this shit. I thought that's why he was. That was funny as hell, because that was the first thing that popped in my mind. I was like, is he doing this for some type of kink?
No.
Is he getting off to this?
No.
That's what I was literally thinking. That's why he like. That's what he likes, but he's doing it to his son.
No.
Possibility. I would be even madder if that was the situation.
Don't put that in the episode. Don't put that in the recording.
Possibly.
No father-son kinks in this episode.
Hey, I don't know Montrose, bro. That might not even be his father. I don't know.
What Shaq said to Chuck, hey, don't record that. Don't put that on the episode.
Hey, that was the first thought when I had found out. I was like, damn, was he doing that for a kink? But what you said made way more sense, though.
Because it's like, you see that with parents all the time. Like, regardless of if it's homophobic stuff or whatever, you see parents do that with their kids all the time. They beat their children, or they're very disciplined. They're very disciplinary on their children for reasons of their own insecurities that they try to in place on their kids. Like, we've seen that growing up with people we grew up around, friends and all that. And like, we've heard stories about that. Like, my mom made me do this, this, and this because she never did this, or she couldn't be this. Or my dad was hard on me because of this, just because he was like that. And he don't want me to be like that. And he don't want to let me be myself. Like, I've heard plenty of stories like that before. So I feel like they were trying to give that message out.
Yep. That's true, bro. All right, moving on. We get to the Hippolyta scene. Hippolyta about to go off to the coordinates. I looked up the coordinates and looked like they were in Troy, Kansas. When we seen like the coordinates on the actual orrery, it was like 39, negative 70 something, and it ended up being in Troy, Kansas. So she was about to go to Kansas to the observatory. Tick and Letty ended up coming over because they wanted to borrow Woody, which is the car, to get to St. Louis. And that's when we get the whole little confrontation, and you feel like the animosity between them. And she was like, nah, you can't take the car. Like, I'm going somewhere. And Tick was like, nah, it's important. It's important. She's like, my shit important too.
Yeah, so it's my guide trip. Like, did Uncle George leave you in charge of the guide? And he was like, no, ma'am. So why the hell do I got to ask you permission to go somewhere? And that played a part too later on in the episode of, like, why do I need permission from you? Or why did I need permission from Uncle George back then? True. So all that baggage carried over to her into her argument with Tick. Just because Uncle George was in charge of the map, that don't mean now that he gone, you get to be in charge. Like, no, like, it's in my possession. I'm in charge of it.
That's a good point, boy. Hey, but a second watch, boy, you making good points. Hey, boy, that second watch is important, most definitely, boy. That's a good point. Good point. All right, bro. So she ends up going to Kansas, and Tick ends up taking the bus to St. Louis. Letty ends up staying at Hippolyta's house.
Yeah, she stays with Ruby at Hippolyta's house because they babysitting D.
Yep. Letty ends up apologizing for everything that happened at the house or whatever, everything that went down about the money, that little whole situation. And I'm surprised. Actually, I'm not surprised because, like I said, Christina is manipulative. She didn't tell Ruby about the whole money situation, how she gave the money to Letty and not her mother. So this is what I'm talking about. She's gonna tell you a half truth. She's not gonna tell you everything that's going on because she's what?
Well, but I feel like Letty didn't tell Ruby about the real money situation because she's thinking Ruby don't know what's going on right now. She don't know about all these monsters.
She thinks she dumb to everything.
She thinks she dumb to everything right now. So that's why Letty didn't go in depth and tell her where the money really came from. She's just still playing on the fact that it came from Mama. Yeah. So I feel like Letty's not wrong for that. I hope Ruby don't get mad at her later on when she find out how she really got the money. Because Letty was just...
Why would she be mad at her, though? She should be mad at Christina. Because she ain't tell her.
I feel like Ruby just gonna get mad at Letty just because.
That's why I don't like her punk ass.
Like, why you told me a half truth? Why you ain't tell me where you really got the money from? Like, you been lying about monsters and this, that, and the third. Yeah, Ruby gonna find a way to get mad. She gonna find a way to get mad.
That's why I don't like her, bro. I don't care how many full episodes she get. I do not like her, jump, bro. I swear I don't, man. I swear. But there was another point I wanted to bring up. Damn. It was about they were playing games. It was Letty, D, and it was a couple of her friends. They were playing games while Ruby was watching them. And it was something that the little boy said. The little boy had said something about Bobo. He was like, man, when Bobo coming back? Or something like that. A huge point in the episode, I was like, they definitely going to play on this.
He might be dead by now. Probably.
Possibly.
He might be dead by now. Because if they asking when he coming back, then that means he ain't come back yet, which means he dead. So
yeah, so we're going to dive into that
together.
We're going to dive into that next episode, bro. And that's why I said episode 7 was great. But the previews I seen for episode 8, oh my goodness, bro. I seen a skeleton put his hands over a doorway or some crazy junk.
I seen some demon hands with long fingernails.
Yeah.
I was like, it was them two kids in the middle of the street that look like dead bodies. Yeah. I was like, what's going on? I was like,
bro, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of it. It gave me like Pennywise vibes.
It did. Like, it really did.
I was like, damn. So I was like, this junk look mighty lit. And I was like, if you incorporate Emmett Till in that somehow, because the episode is titled Jigga Bobo. So I'm assuming that he's going to be involved in this episode. If you involve him in this somehow, this episode is lit. This episode going to be better than this one, bro. This episode was great.
Yep.
Next one's going to be crazy, bro. Next one's going to be crazy.
I feel like all these final episodes are going to top each other. I feel like we think episode 7 is great. I feel like we're going to think episode 8 the best, then 9 going to look like the best, and then the finale probably going to be the best by the end of it.
Yeah. That jump was fire, though. That jump did look fire. But let's move on. So Lyda is on her way to the observatory. She's on the road, and she has somebody driving by her. And this is something else I was spoiled on. But it was the lady, her name was Bessie Stringfield. She was riding a motorcycle. And I bet you already did your research on Bessie Stringfield. So give us the information.
She's the first African-American woman to ride her motorcycle cross country, I believe, through
all 48 states.
Yeah, through all 48 states, through all the sundown towns, all that type of shit. Mm-hmm. She was the first African-American woman to do that. And I believe, I can't remember what vet she was. She was a military vet too. Anybody in the comments put what war she was a part of, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Did you think Hippolyta knew who she was while riding it? Because she looked hella excited when she seen her riding past. So she knew who she was?
I think she knew who she was because during that time, even though newspapers you didn't find out about stuff until like almost a week later based on how newspapers came out. But it probably took Bessie a long time to do that because of the fact that she was driving a motorcycle that far. Yeah. Plus, you like being black back then. I mean, obviously we can't speed now, but back then, you definitely didn't want to get caught speeding, so she was probably driving slow at that cross country. Mm-hmm. So I feel like by the time Hippolyta got on road, she got on road just in time for her to catch up to her and like actually cross paths with her.
Yeah, and this was kind of more foreshadowing moving forward as well. And it was her riding her motorcycle through all the states was basically giving her a sense of freedom. And we see later in the episode that Hippolyta started to get unshackled and she started to become free from everything that was holding her back in her past. So the same thing here, like Bessie Stringfield was riding through Jim Crow states, like she was going through the South, just cool. You know what I'm saying? Going through all the states. Nobody was messing with her. So it was just basically telling you all the freedom that she had. And like I said, that was foreshadowing moving forward. What happened next? Next, we get to Tick goes to St. Louis. He finds the lady. It wasn't that too important, but the important part was the birthmark. When she was showing him the photo album, it was somebody in the book. Don't know who it was, but she had the same birthmark as Tick. She had it on her hand.
I think that wasn't that the auntie that he was searching for? Because
she said he was dead.
But no, the auntie was alive, I think, or the cousin, whatever Montrose said it was. I think he said it was his mama's cousin or auntie or whatever. Another family member of Tick survived the Tulsa riots, and the lady in St. Louis that Montrose knew was connected to them was still alive as well. That could tell Tick possibly tell Tick the information.
So she's still alive then. The lady who he showed.
Well, at least based off of what Montrose was saying. And when he went to the house and he was eating dinner with the lady, she was like, I never heard your family speaking no book of names, but they did always talk about some kind of book. I thought it might have been a photo album or a family Bible or something. He was like, that might be it. Like, could you tell me more? And then she showed him the photo album that she had. And that's when, like you said,
because she said it had burned in the riots.
Yeah, she said it burned up in the riots because the white people burned everything. They burned everything to the ground. If you're looking for anything out of Tulsa, you're not gonna find it. Like, it's burned. And I was just like, damn, like that stuck out to me. I was like, they really like messed up the Black Wall Street that we were like really trying to build up. That was crazy to me.
Yeah. Ah, boy. But I knew it wasn't gonna be that easy though. I still feel like it wasn't gonna be that easy. Like, everybody is chasing the pages. But you some way get the book, the whole book. That's like, it can't be that easy for Tick, bro. He been struggling this whole season. It can't just be that easy that he finds every spell now.
But that birthmark part was crazy though. I was like, damn, she got it on her wrist or her hand or whatever, and he got the same one on his back. So I was like, I hope that person's still alive. Yeah.
But they didn't say who she was. Like you said, it could have been the mom's cousin. Yeah, she was like, because when she pointed her out, she was like, you know who this is, right? And then she had ended up going to get the phone, so she never said who it was that she was pointing at. So I was kind of confused on who it was, but yeah, that's definitely going to be important moving forward. Letty ends up calling Tick to the lady's house in St. Louis and talking about the orrery because the orrery was inside of Hippolyta's house the whole time. So Letty ends up finding it. She calls Tick and says that she sees it and that it has coordinates on there and that she needs to get to the coordinates as soon as possible because Hippolyta could be in danger. But the important part to me was that Ruby was watching, bro. So how did you feel about that scene, bro? And how important do you think Ruby will be
in next episode?
No, this is what I mean. I set up that question terribly wrong. But I thought she was the one that called Christina to get the cops to show up at the observatory. Do you think that?
Nah, I don't think so. Because Hippolyta shot the cop. So I mean, I feel like it was. I don't know. I feel like that was just a good follow-up of they shot the cop. It only makes sense for more cops to show up if somebody hears gunshots.
No, I'm saying. That's what I just thought. No, because Hippolyta ended up getting to the observatory. And like a couple of, looks like she was there. She was messing around with it. She was going through all of her mathematics to get it to work. And then a couple of cops came. So I'm assuming a couple of hours went by. But we already seen the scene about Letty and Ruby was watching her talk on the phone about the coordinates. So I'm like, did Ruby call Christina? And did Christina call Lancaster to get his people to go out there? Because Lancaster and Christina have a relationship. It's not a good one, but they have a relationship.
Nah, I don't think so. Because Letty never did actually say what the coordinates were. She probably read the coordinates off the Tick. But
that's what I'm saying.
But we didn't see that though. We didn't see that part. All we know is that Ruby seen her talking to Tick and looking at the orrery. So unless in the next episode they show like a scene that was cut out of the last episode of where she actually did hear her say something, I don't think Ruby played a part in the police showing up. Because Hippolyta snuck into the observatory anyway. That's why the police were looking, because like I feel like they were doing their regular roundabouts of the premises and they noticed somebody went inside. So I feel like it was just a coincidence in that situation.
I feel it.
But I wouldn't be surprised. What you're saying might be right, because coincidences barely happen.
Because then when I was watching, I was like, did Ruby call Christina? And did Christina, because they both want the orrery. Christina wants the orrery and Lancaster wants the orrery, but they don't want it in anybody else's hands. So I'm like, did she call him just to get somebody on it, just so they don't mess with it or anything like that? Just so we know it's not touched. Because they still don't have the key. So it still would have been no advantage to anybody, Christina or Lancaster, if they found somebody there. So that's why I was like, maybe she called them, but you're probably right, though. You're probably right about that. All right, so Letty, like I said before, Letty gets the time machine to work. She's in Troy, Kansas. And then the cops come after like a couple hours, like I just said. And Tick ends up coming to save the day.
But before we get into that part, I like how they showed how Hippolyta's mathematician skills really played a part. Because another thing that I thought about when I saw this, you seen Hidden Figures, right?
Yeah.
In Hidden Figures, I instantly thought of Taraji P. Henson's character. I instantly thought of her character. Excuse me for not knowing the actual names of the women, y'all. Like, they're not coming in my head right now. But I feel like that just plays a part in how smart people back then were in general, because all she had was scratch paper, her mind, and the numbers that were given to her.
True.
And she was real deal solving like actual NASA type equations, physics equations, and all that type of shit just with her mind. So I was like, wow, like that just shows the strength of the mind of the Black woman, the mind of people in general back then who knew how to do that stuff. Like, we're so dependent on calculators now, and we're so dependent on technology helping us solve math quicker, to the point where we don't truly know how to do it if we're just given a pencil, some paper, and a problem. So the fact that she was really figuring all that out, and the equations that came up when she was doing it, I was like, this is giving me Hidden Figure vibes. I really like that.
And that's why I said, like, in the beginning, you see that she was making out the equations in this scene. And it was also in another scene when she gets on the, like, I don't know, she was like on another planet or something like that, where she was messing with like the rectangles. It was like not rectangles, but it was like trapezoids. She kept tapping on it and junk, and she had them like fly up in the air, the little black things fly up in the air, but she was doing math while doing it. I was like, damn, how is she doing that? She's like just in her mind. So yeah, that shit was definitely raw. So it definitely showed it though. So Tick ends up saving the day because he ends up jumping on one of the cops because it looked like they were gonna beat her ass. It looked like the cops were gonna beat her ass for being in there. But Tick ended up running in, and this is what I was talking to you before the pod, bro. This is the funniest part because Tick was in St. Louis. How did he get to St. Louis to Kansas in that amount of time off a bus? How did he get there that fast?
I ain't get that.
Please explain to me how he got there that fast, bro.
I was like, it's one of those movie situations where something impossible happened, but you're not thinking about it because it's a movie. I feel like that was what they was doing just then. I was like, there's no way he made it that fast. But
bro,
okay.
On the first time I watched it, I was cool with it. Second time I watched it, I was like, bruh, he literally just got the call, and then we cut to the scene with Hippolyta. It's no way that he gets on a bus and gets to St. Louis in that amount of time. The nigga flew in like Superman. No bullshit. He just literally flew in like Superman.
Unless he borrowed somebody's car or something. Even if he borrowed somebody's car, like, I feel like you got there way too fast. Like,
I literally looked up the distance between Troy, Kansas, and St. Louis. It's a 4-hour distance. It really was blowing me, bro. I literally had to do research on this because I was like, how do you get there that fast? I didn't understand it. I did it, bro. But yeah, so we move on and we get to the portal. The portal starts to open because she ends up getting the machine to work. The portal starts to open. So you see it opening while they're fighting with the cops. And Tick threw one of the cops in the portal, and they thought everything was cool. I mean, Hippolyta ended up shooting one of the cops.
They threw one of them in the portal, and she shot the other one.
She shot the other one. Do you think she needed to shoot him? I didn't feel like she did.
Casualty of war. Okay. I don't feel like it was needed, but I'm not mad at it either. Because he was definitely gonna kill them if he had the opportunity to kill them. So
yeah, that's true.
Especially if after he seen them throw the other one in there, I was like, yeah, he probably gonna kill y'all if y'all don't kill him first. So.
Yeah.
But the way they looked at each other after she killed him, I was like, yo, y'all better get out of there. They gonna skin y'all alive. They gonna hang y'all. They gonna do y'all. Not only did y'all kill a white man, y'all killed a white police officer.
Who works for Lancaster.
Yes. Like, y'all.
Who works for Lancaster, bro. Oh, my
That's
God.
a death sentence off rip.
Literally, bro.
Fighting back was a death sentence. Like, I'm like, yeah. They're looking at each other like, man.
Obviously, they didn't know, and they probably don't know who Lancaster is at this point. But, oh, my goodness, bro. If they know what they just did, they're going to be in hell. That's why I said next episode going to be crazy. Tick and Hippolyta end up getting sucked into the portal. Lyda ends up going to the future, and she meets Afrobot. I don't know what her name is. I'm gonna just call her Afrobot. And she gets like shackles, like she got shackles on her arms.
I didn't think they were shackles. I don't know what I thought they were, but I didn't think they were shackles. This was kind of like.
That's why she couldn't leave. That's why she couldn't leave. Like it was like a force field around it because of the shackles she had on.
Oh, I thought it was like a tracking device or something like that. But they might have been shackles though.
Yeah,
that
they
make more sense.
were shackles. Another funny part. Did you peep how stiff my girl hair was while she was in that portal? Her hair was not moving while she was in that portal, dog. I was peeping. I was like, her shit's so stiff, my nigga.
I was
like,
not paying attention to that. I was not.
It wasn't a bob. It wasn't a bob she had, bro, but it was like some form of a bob, like a little lower than a bob. But she had that shit was mad stiff while she was going through the portal.
That was like, paying attention to the styles.
I was literally paying attention to that. Both times I watched it, I was like,
that sounds like something I would say. Like,
bro, that shit was way too stiff. I was like, she going through a whole portal and her hair is not moving. I was deep.
But I like that Afro bot goddess situation that she was in, because it's like, are they playing a point of like black people are like the future, or black women are the goddesses of the future and stuff like that, or rulers of the world? Like, I kind of low-key like the fact that they was playing on that point.
Oh, because I was going to bring up the point about, did you hear the poem while it was when it was the second to last scene? It was when
it was like later in the.
It was like, no, I'm saying this, but Hippolyta and Tick, they were like in some type of discovery. This is just after she left. Like they ended up holding hands and going to some type of different place.
Oh, you're talking about her and Uncle George.
Her and Uncle George, yes.
Yeah, black people are myths.
Black people are myths. Yes, that's what I wanted to get across. So that's why I'm like, that's probably what he was playing on. That's probably what they were playing on, of black people being myths.
Yeah.
The robot of a myth is probably what they're trying to get out of that whole Afrobot.
But I love that though, because she was asking Hippolyta. Hippolyta was basically like, let me out of here, like get me out. And she was like, you're not in a prison. Who are you and where do you want to be? Mm-hmm. What is your name? And Hippolyta laughing, she like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, let me out. I know who I am. Like, let me out of here. And the Afro robot lady kept asking her, who are you? What is your name? Where do you want to be right now? And that's when we go into the next scene of Hippolyta say, I want to be, like, she just thought of some random shit. Yeah. She was like, I want to be in Paris dancing with Josephine Baker. And it automatically took her there. But before we dive too deep into that, what's the name of that theory? The many worlds theory. For those of you who don't know what the many worlds theory is, in layman's terms, it's basically like the quantum realm in Marvel's Avengers, what Ant-Man was going through and how they figured out how to beat Thanos. There was no actual existence of time. There were just different worlds in different universes all simultaneously going at the same time. So what you would do in this universe won't affect what's going on in this other universe. And I feel like that's what they were doing. And because she said that to Uncle George later in episode 2, the many worlds theory. So I was like, damn, like they really like pulling some quantum leap type stuff. So she's not really going back in time, because I thought this episode was going to be time travel. It wasn't time travel. It was literally reality traveling. And she was in a space where she could say whatever she wanted to do, be whatever she wanted to be. And that's what she was. So that's how we get to the first scenario of her becoming Josephine, not becoming Josephine Baker, but becoming a dancer with Josephine Baker.
Yeah. And I really didn't dive too deep into those scenes. I just put Josephine Baker's scene, but you could see that she was starting to let up, because after she was dancing on stage on one of the scenes, she didn't know what the hell she was doing. She just looked real stiff when she was on stage. And her and Josephine Baker had a conversation. She was like, you got to loosen up. You got to loosen up to be a dancer, sweetie. This isn't America anymore.
Yeah, be free. Do what be artistic. Express yourself. And that was an eye-opener for Hippolyta.
Exactly. She moved forward. She's starting to loosen up. She's smoking weed. She see everything that's going on. Girls kissing girls. So she like, oh, this how they getting down over here in Paris. So everybody was like a free spirit type of environment over there. Nobody was tripping. And then we get to the conversation that they started to have between Josephine Baker and Hippolyta. But if you don't know who Josephine Baker was.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I feel like you should tell them who that is.
Yeah, she was a American-born French entertainer, and she was the first black woman to star in a major motion picture, which was the 1927 silent film Siren of the Tropics.
Right.
Yep. So that's who Josephine Baker was. So she was big. She's mostly known in Europe and things like that. But she was born in America. I think she was from St. Louis.
She's from St. Louis. She was also not a French revolutionist, but
Civil War.
Yeah, she was like a civil rights activist.
Yeah.
When she got over into Europe and France, she denounced being American at that point. And she was she wasn't a French revolutionist, but she was a French I
forgot what it
revolt type person. I can't remember the title that they gave her, but once she actually got over into Europe and realized how free she was over there, she denounced her American type citizenship.
And something I found out from an Explain video I was watching is that after Martin Luther King died, she was somebody who played a big role in like civil rights activism after he left. Like she was looked at for a lot of counseling, a lot of information and things like that about civil rights and how to move forward with it after he had passed. So she played a big role in America and in France, bro. So definitely shout out to Josephine Baker, bro. I love the hits that they be dropping in these shows.
Yeah,
bro.
I be telling people, I'm like, if y'all watch this show, y'all gonna learn history facts that most people don't know. They don't give you the history facts that everybody know. They drop little dimes and pieces in there of like regular shit that you probably just wouldn't even want to really look into. They give you, and you'd be like, wow, like we learned about our history so much through everything but school. Like we learned through everything, TV shows, like conversations with grandparents. We learned about our history through so much outside of school where we actually should be learning to that.
And that's why it's so hard to describe this show, because it's like it has race involvement, but it's also sci-fi and mythical, but it's also historical at the same time. That's why
my sister asked me what the show was about last night. I was like,
I cannot explain to you what the show is. I really can't.
Like, please don't ask me that question. Because if I explain it to you, you're going to be like, that shit sounds so lame. And it's not going to do it justice. My explanation is not going to do it justice.
Exactly, bro. I try to do it, like I said, I try to say it has something to do with race and all that, but it doesn't happen. Just watch episode 1. That's what I tell people now. Just watch episode 1 and see if you fuck with it. Because episode 1 was the shit, bro. If you ain't hooked after episode 1, then it's not for you, I guess. But the conversation between Josephine Baker and Hippolyta was basically that I still feel shackled in a way. When I go home, I feel shackled and I feel so free here. And what else did she say, bro?
She said, I feel small. I feel like I've always been shrunken throughout my life by white society, by my marriage, by myself, because I feel like her talk with Josephine Baker was the most powerful part in the whole episode, because Hippolyta said, I became the exact type of woman that white folks wanted me to be. Mm-hmm. The exact type of Negro woman white folks wanted me to be. And I was like, damn.
And she said it was a smart way. It was basically a smart way to lynch me without me noticing the noose, just to go forward with your point, bro. So it was like they were still lynching me. I felt free, but I was still shackled at the end of the day. I wasn't free, but I really thought I was. So you can
I thought about that. I was like, damn, like a lot of us do feel like that. They found a smart way to lynch me without using the noose. Systematic racism and oppression to this day. They find a way to keep us enslaved just without literally killing us.
The working system as well. The working system, like just working a regular job, bro. You still gonna feel that way. It still feels like modern day slavery. It's like they gonna keep you at this cap. You can't get paid more than this. You got somebody who works over you, but he ain't getting too much money more than you getting, but he getting a little bit of raise. So it's like it's slavery in every way. It's in working, like you said, systematically and all that, bro. So she was making good points all around. But that was the biggest conversation moving forward. And then she ends up saying that I'm Hippolyta. And she ends up.
Oh, and before she said that, what she said right before that is the reason she got put in the next scenario she got put in. Because
I hate me.
That's she said, I hate me. And she also said, sometimes I really just want to kill white folks. Mm-hmm. And during that time, like if you say that nowadays, I honestly feel like it's not warranted to say that, because even though you can really dislike white people nowadays, I don't feel like what we go through now is near what black people were going through back then. Back then, if somebody said, I really do be wanting to kill white folks, it's like, shit, what they doing to us currently at this time is like you warranted to feel that way. So when Hippolyta said that, I was like, damn, like, and this is during the 50s, so she's been alive through what 20s, 30s, 40s, up to the 50s at this point. So yeah, you probably really do be feeling like that. So when she said that and then said I am Hippolyta and screamed her name, that transitioned her into the
warrior tribe.
Yeah, into the women warrior tribe. The homies, I think that's what they were called.
That's what they were called? I don't know. I didn't get the name. I just know
I've heard of these women before. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
She was with let me find it. What was the name of these women?
Yeah, she basically got sent here like just like he said he wanted to kill white folks, and also it still has something to tie in about her freedom as well. Like sometimes your freedom isn't just given to you; you have to fight for it. So she was fighting white folks to also get her freedom as well, or to feel like she was free.
She the next scenario she was put into were the Daomi. I think that's what they were called. They were a race of black women in I think in Benin, if I'm not mistaken, who were invaded by white European colonizers. But this group of women went down as like some of the most feared warriors of all time. And they were so feared by the white soldiers who would come and like try to invade their land. Like white people later in history would describe them as they were 8-foot giants, like they were vicious creatures, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, they were just badass women warriors who just happened to be black.
Yeah. And you seen when she first got to that scenario, she was fighting with like one of the leaders of the tribe. And
like one of the head warriors.
Yeah, one of the head warriors. And she wasn't getting no progress. Like she basically getting brushed off like she wanted nothing. And she ended up having the same conversation about freedom. I forgot the leader of the tribe's name, but she ended up having the conversation about, yeah, the white folks, they're going to give you your freedom, but you still cooking their food, you still working their job, or you still working for the white man and things like that. And she was saying,
they're giving you their version of freedom.
They're giving you their version. So it's like a restricted freedom. And she was like, we don't really know unrestricted freedom. So I can't tell you what that is, but we have to at least try to get that. We can't be restricted for all this time. And after that monologue, she said, I feel like Hippolyta started to fight better. And then, we moved on. What else she did? Damn. Isn't that when we move on to the actual fight scene?
Yeah, after that, they moved. She trained better and she became an actual good fighter at that point. And then they moved on to where she was the leader of the troop going into the war at that point. And when she was the leader, she was telling her troop, after like the first brawl that they had with the soldiers, she was telling her troop for the second battle getting ready to come, like, it is not unladylike to be angry. It is not ungodlike to be not cruel, but to be fierce, like the way we are. Like, because, you know, the stigma of the angry black woman or the aggressive black woman, I really feel like they were playing on that because I low-key hate when people say that because black women are allowed to be angry. Black women are allowed to be angry. They're allowed to be pissed off. They're allowed to be violent in situations where violence is necessary. You're allowed to do things in necessary situations. So I feel like they highlighted that point of the angry, quote unquote, black woman. So I'm glad they did that because I hate when people say you don't want to be looked at as the angry black woman. Well, if you're angry and you're a black woman, you're allowed to be angry.
That's true. But if they was angry, they damn sure used their anger for good because they beat them white folks' ass. Killed all of them in a second, fella.
They literally killed them.
Killed them boys in a second, boy. And bro, I want to say it was like 1,000 or at least 100 white folks. And it was only like 20 of them.
That first group was probably like a few hundred.
But it was like a whole another group looked like it was running, but when she actually got shipped off, and they were still probably gonna kill all them. So like, that's just crazy, bro. So I would be saying there was 8-foot warriors too, just to get my shit off. You know what I'm saying? I can't say I'm getting beat up by women. Like, nah, I don't want to go back to my tribe with that.
And by the time they ran up, that's when she said, I am Hippolyta, George's wife. And then that's when we go into the next scene of her being in bed with Uncle George. And like he wakes her up and she starts telling him the entire situation of what's happened to her currently to where she is now with him. And he said something to her. He was like, so after everything you've been through, you still felt it in your heart to say you were my wife.
He thought it was a good thing.
Yeah, although that sounded very sweet, which it was, it made Hippolyta say, damn, like, in the end, I still only said I'm your wife. Like, that's all I said I was. And he looking at her like, is that not good? And she's like, I've been running away from the fact that you've been shrinking me too. Whether it was intentional or unintentional, like, the good and the love that you've seen in me, like, you still, that still played a part in suppressing me and making me feel smaller. I was already small as hell by the time I met you, but it's like, you making me your wife and not letting me be the discoverer that you've seen in me and all of that, and just the housewife, like, that's what made her shrink even more. So I was like, damn, how many Black women really go through that? Like, you could have been this designer, you could have been this engineer, you could have been this mathematician, blah, 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 but you met this man and you had to go along with what his vision was, and you had to shrink yourself into just being a mother, into just being this and not being who you fully want to be. So I was like, damn, that this whole episode really spoke to Black women, and I love that about it. That's why it's my favorite episode.
Damn, that's true as fuck. Yep, and all I put was don't compromise too much or you'll lose yourself. That was the key thing I took away from that scene, because she lost herself throughout the whole relationship. Like she said, she was lost even before she met George, or she was shrunken before she met George, but she was like, I thought you seen the star in me. I thought you knew how big I wanted to be, but you really kept me around the house and things like that. You ain't never take me on no trips. And then she was like, I am Hippolyta, the discoverer. And then she ended up taking her and George, went to like some type of what
I don't know. They were in some type of space land or whatever.
Yeah, space.
But she actually became Orinthia Blue, the character that Dee created. I was like, damn, I like how they did that.
Yeah. But it's gonna get her ass in trouble too. Next episode.
Yeah.
Orinthia Blue gonna get her in trouble next episode. Yeah, bro. So they just basically discovering that planet, and then she gets the option from the Afrobot. Afrobot ends up taking off her shackles. She was like, you can do whatever you want at this point. You can stay
now
here.
Now that you know who you are and what you are.
Yeah, she was like, you can be the discoverer, or you can go back home. It's like, it's your choice at this point. And she had to think about it. She was like, I've become so curious since I've been here, this, that, the third. But she was like, I got D at the crib. You know, I got to take care of D, and D needs me and things like that. So she ended up choosing to go back home.
But the fact that she said, and let's go back to the point of the poem that we were hearing.
On the back,
Yeah. The poem leading up to that, you're not real. Like, I'm trying to remember who was speaking in that poem.
Like James Baldwin.
It did. I got to figure out who was speaking, but he was basically saying, you're not real. This isn't your reality. If it was, you wouldn't be fighting for equal rights. If it was, you wouldn't be trying to be looked at as a human being by these other people. You're a myth. I'm a myth. That's what Black people are. We're myths. We're so outstandingly beyond comprehension that it's like we're made up stories to a certain extent. Like, we don't fit into the society that's been forced upon us. So that whole poem like really spoke to me. I was like, damn, like, Black, we really are myths if you think about it, because all the creations that we've made, the inventions we've made, the trends that people copy from us and everything, is like, we are myths. So I was like, damn, that's like the hardest shit I've ever heard, honestly.
Yeah. And that's why I associate the Afrobot and everything that I've seen before that we seen even in like the little space land adventure that they were showing, like, it was all like myths that if it associated with Blackness, it was a myth. So
and she didn't even want to call home anymore. She was like, how can I fit everything I am into that? Like, I don't even, what I've seen, what I am, what I'm in right now, this is home. Like, this is what I really am. And to go, if it wasn't for D, I honestly would not go back. So I was like, damn, like, I don't think she shrunk herself again, but I feel like she knows what she is and how to teach that to D at this point.
And I wonder if she would show D that, like, show D the possibility of hopping in the portal and like opening her mind and things like that. So that could be something moving forward too. And okay, so now we get to like the last scene of the episode, which was Tick was the first one to come back through the portal. Tick comes through the portal, and he has a book of Lovecraft Country, but it was by George Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to assume that he went to the future and it was a book by George. Or
where did he go? I'm really
That's
mad
what
they
I'm- that's
didn't
what I'm
show where
wondering.
Tick went. Like,
They're gonna
where
show a
he-
flashback next episode. They got to show us something. They can't
Yeah.
show us just hopping out with a book. Like, come on, you got to give us some type of information. Yeah, bro. So I wrote that same question down. What did Tick do in the portal, and what does the Lovecraft Country book mean? Like, what is it supposed to mean moving forward? Like, does he know everything that's about to happen now, or is it a story about something in a different world, or how is that going to play moving forward? Tix takes the keys from the machine because he hears the sirens in the background. Looked like some cops was coming. I guess they heard somebody got shot. He takes the keys from the machine and he gone. He leaves the conservatory, but he left Dee's comic of Aretha Blue inside of the conservatory by the dead cop, and it said Diane Freeman on it. So they're going to associate the killing of the cop
With
to
Diane.
Freeman.
Yeah.
So that's what they're going to play on next episode, basically, bro. So, yeah. How did you feel about this episode? You said you loved it, but what was your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway was mainly for Black people in general, but especially for Black women, don't be afraid to be you. Don't be afraid to chase after everything you want to do and be everything that you want to be. And just know that you are you before you're anybody's wife, before you're anybody's employee, this, that, and the third. You are, like Hippolyta said, I am the mathematician, I am the discoverer, I am the warrior, I am the goddess, I am this, that. You are all of those things. So I feel like that was my biggest takeaway from the whole episode.
Yeah. That was had to be the biggest takeaway from everybody with the self-discovery portion, bro. I didn't know they were going to dive that deep into her self-discovery, but I like the way they did it, though. I definitely like the way they did it. Yeah. So what is your predictions for next episode after seeing the previews, bro? We talked about it a little bit, but what is your predictions?
My main predictions for next episode are going to be, we're going to see the outcome of the Emmett Till situation. What else? D, I feel like there's going to be a situation where Tick has to save D from Officer Lancaster. And everybody going to find out Letty pregnant by the end of episode 8.
I feel like she's gonna start showing. She already showed it a little bit with she said that she had allergies, that's why she couldn't eat garlic or some things like that.
After she known for loving garlic.
Exactly. So it's like, we started to get to tell, because then her sister said, she was like, or maybe you got pregnant by Mr. Fix-It or some shit she had said.
Yeah, because she was like, is that garlic? And Ruby was like, you love garlic. What you talking about?
So I was like, yeah. So I'm gonna rock out with that. But definitely, I want to see how they're going to incorporate the It. Like I said, it looked like It. What type of demon is going to be in this? Like that was the most impressive thing about that whole preview, was the demon that was wrapping his hand around the doorway. I was like, what is that? And then I seen somebody was walking down the street and they had did the little leprechaun shit. You know what you do with the leprechaun?
Yeah, it was them two kids that look like dead bodies or whatever. They did the kill clip. Man.
So I want to know how they're incorporated too, bro.
Yeah.
It looked like it's going to be real horror. Like this whole shit was horror, but this is going to be like the horrific shit. This is really going to be horrific. They look like they was trying to chase down D. So it looked like D was like on her bike a lot of the time, like running, trying to get away from it. And also, I want to know if they're going to implicate D or Hippolyta with this murder. Like,
I feel like they're going to incorporate D with it, because Hippolyta ain't nowhere to be found. So she ain't come back yet.
Come home though.
We assuming.
She ain't come back yet.
Yeah, she ain't come back yet. We assuming she gonna come home, but we don't know when.
Damn, that's true.
So they ain't got no choice but to associate D with it right now.
That's crazy. But hey, Woody still outside though.
Ooh, Woody is still outside.
Woody's still outside.
They don't give a damn about that. Like, they got a name and they got an actual person to go with the name. They don't give a damn about the story or none of that. Your comic is drenched in the blood, your name on it, and we found you. I don't give a damn if you can drive or not. Like, none of that matter at this point. We got
That's
the
what
name.
I'm saying. Like, it should not add.
It should. Right. Yeah. Logically, that shouldn't add up. But back then, they didn't give a damn. They got the name and the person.
And it's Dr. Lancaster, bro. Not Dr. Lancaster, but Mr. Lancaster, bro. He a captain of the cops. So he can basically do whatever he wants. You just kill one of his people, and you was messing with the observatory. Oh yeah, we need answers. We need answers if you him. So yeah, so he gonna play a huge role in this next episode, bro. And I think that's it for the pod, bro. Anything else you want to say?
It wasn't really nothing else I took away from it. Oh,
rankings.
Ruby gonna take the potion again, so I'm interested to see who she gonna turn into and how that's gonna play. Well, I feel like we know who she gonna turn into, but I wonder how that's gonna play out with her taking the potion again. And
rankings.
Oh yeah, rankings. Episode 7, in order for me is 7. 7, 5, 3, 1, 2, 4. I forgot 6. Damn.
6 last for me.
Yeah, 6 last. 6, yeah.
I got episode 7, 1, 5, 3, 2, 4, 6. So this is my best one. This finally topped the episode 1. Episode 1 was hard to top. I didn't think anybody was gonna take it, but like you said, I like the point you made with that. Every episode is gonna get better because I'm pretty sure what I see with the previews, episode 8 is gonna be my favorite by next week. I'm calling
right.
it now. So yeah, but that was a good point. But you can hit them with the social media. That is a wrap.
You can follow us on Twitter at QE Podcast 1. You can follow us on Instagram at Q_N_E_Podcast. You can follow and like our Facebook page, Q&E Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Q&E Podcast. Click the notification bell and hit all so you can see anytime that we drop new episodes. Our email, QANDEpodcast@gmail.com for any business inquiries, questions, concerns, fan mail. We'll make sure to get back to you as soon as possible on there. You can follow Quincy on Twitter at Q_Hicks3. You can follow me at Edgar Martin 97. And you can follow Quincy on Instagram at Q Hicks Production. And you can follow me at Edgar Martin Official. Shout out to Blue Collar Media Group and MTMV Sports.
Yes, you can subscribe to us on all of our podcast platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and also iHeartRadio. So wherever you listen to podcasts, we're there, but those are our main platforms. And subscribe to me on YouTube. Just got to 40 subscribers. Let's clap it up. 40 subscribers. Yeah. And subscribe to us on YouTube. We're 6 subscribers away from 100, bro. So let's get to 100, bro, by the end of the week. Let's get to this 100 by the end of the week.
And happy birthday to my boy. Today he turned 22. We're not just gonna end the pod without saying that.
Hey, appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. We got another pod going on too, bro. We're definitely gonna make that a big deal. So 2 birthday pods today.
Yeah, two birthdays. Yes, sir. So what else we got coming up? Oh, in just about 2.5 weeks, it'll be a year since we started. So
yes,
y'all keep listening. I think the 19th, October 19th.
Whoa, it might have been October 20s. It's something like that. October 24th.
Keep a lookout, y'all, because we're gonna have a big annual episode coming up for
we're gonna
year.
We're gonna do a giveaway too. I've been thinking about. We're gonna do some type of giveaway for the year anniversry, bro.
Yeah,
big deal, bro. We're coming up on a year, bro. That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, we started off real dry, and now we got it. We got it to the point we gonna be nationwide known by the end of the year. You seen the tweet I made. We're gonna be known nationwide by the end of this year. Y'all will see Q&E Podcast across a lot of platforms by the end of this year.
Y'all keep rocking with us, bro. Y'all keep rocking with us. And I don't know. We might do. You started watching Ratchet?
No, I can actually start today because I'm off today. So
I watched Ratchet. The ending. I love the ending. I don't want to spoil nothing for you because I don't want your reaction all over the place. But we might be having a Ratchet review, the whole season review, bro. So we might be doing that as well. Because since this is coming to an end, we might get that to y'all soon. So definitely be on the lookout for that. We appreciate y'all for listening. Definitely stick with us. Coming up on 1 year.
Yes, sir.
On, and we out. Peace. All right.